I sound good. You like your tone?
No, but what can we do?
We can only do so much around here.
We have the voices God gave us.
All right. Are we ready to rock and roll, Ollie?
We are.
We're good to go. All right. This is exciting. Ollie, thank you for setting this up.
Yeah.
We're kind of an impromptu podcast with Connor, but I want to welcome everybody to the STAK Ventures Podcast series. Like I said, we're here with, we'll turn these off here, with Connor. Connor, good to see you. Thanks for coming out of FounderX and giving us a little talk, man. Welcome to the show.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
But Connor, real quick, so that our audience knows, what you've been working on, who you are. I mean, I know what you guys are doing today. We're doing the FounderX amazing day 2 conference here at STAK Space in Franklin. Tell us a little bit about yourself and what you're working on.
Yeah, man. I'm Connor Sattely, CEO of Founder Institute as of this morning.
As of this morning.
Yeah. So it's an awesome day at FounderX, man. It's this gathering of founders, mentors, investors, dreamers, people who want to build what the future should look like, try and make things a little bit better for humanity. So it's fun to bring them in a room together, man, because the conversations in the hallway are always so interesting, especially the ones on stage. We just wrapped up with Eric Ries.
That was good. You were just singing his praises, that conversation.
Yeah, he's a good dude.
Yeah.
It's a good dude. When you find the masters of a craft that are talking about things, they talk about philosophy. They talk about who we are and what meaning comes from. And Eric is a beautiful soul with a lot to share for people. So let's jump right into it, because people are going to wonder, like, okay, for those who don't know, tell us a little bit. What is FounderX and what is it that drew you in? Yeah, FounderX is a gathering. It's a gathering of founders, especially those that are tied to Founder Institute. Founder Institute is a global 0 to 1 company builder. And it's been around for 17 years. It's created over 9,000 businesses with about a $20 billion portfolio of startups coming out of that. So many legendary brands and companies have gone through Founder Institute. And the unique thing is, when I say 0 to 1, sit with that. You can walk down a street in pretty much any major metropolis and trip over a startup accelerator.
Yeah.
But 0 to 1 is still a gap. It's that moment when nobody believes you, where you come up with an idea, right? And everybody says, what's your traction? That's the first question.
Right.
Nobody believes in entrepreneurs when they're at 0. Founder Institute's been doing it for 17 years. So that's what makes that special. So when you bring those people together in a room, the people that, they were a founder and now they're mentors, or now they're investors in the next generation of founders. You bring them together and you talk about what was that moment like when you started believing in founders, or when you were believed in. It's beautiful, man.
I love that. I mean, I've never heard it put in that way, but you're absolutely right. Like, everyone has an idea. Everyone has, like it was talked about in the talk today, everyone has their instincts and their idea, but oftentimes, how you execute on that is a tough road. But let's go back a little bit. We're going to geek out on FounderX. We're going to geek out on Founder Institute. A lot to talk about. There's even the Decile group, which is everything you guys got going. It all plays together. But what got you started in this? I mean, there had to be a bug early on in your life. There must have been a mentor. You grew up in it. You went to school. You read a book. What was it for you that gave you the bug in startup?
It was my roommate. I came home. I was living with a group of guys as I went to school, and I came home one day and he said, I got a cheeseburger with this Mexican guy at a restaurant, and he's going to build this. This was in 2012, right? So everybody was thinking about social media platforms. He's going to build this social media network for politics. We got Twitter for, fast news. We got Facebook for keeping up with your friends. We got LinkedIn for business. We don't have any social media network for politics. And I said, that's a horrible idea. It's never going to work. No one's going to use it. You're an idiot. Don't waste your time on it. But he kept talking about it, man, and week in and week out. And then he got this meeting with a Secretary of State of some country. He was going to, sort of pitch them on the social network for politics. And I said, what happens if she says yes? What does it cost? What happens if she says, yeah, bring it to it was the Seychelles.
Yeah.
what does it cost to implement a social media network in the Seychelles? And he's like, I do not know. And I was like, I could whip something up. So I got a book on the Seychelles.
Hold my beer.
Googling the Seychelles. I made like an 8-page report on what it would cost to launch a social network. Okay, where does the talent in Seychelles come from? How distributed are the islands? Where's the capital? Are there good universities there? What's the representative democracy that's set up in the Seychelles like? Where are the power centers? What are the political structures? How would you need to implement this? And I handed it to him. And he goes, you want to be a co-founder? And I was like, yeah, I guess so. So we started that. We ran it for 3 or 4 years together. And turns out my initial thought was probably pretty close to correct. You can build something like that, but people wouldn't use it. We didn't know, the Eric Ries learnings of lean startup. We didn't sit with customers and ask them, when is the last time you talked to a politician? Which is more of a Rob Fitzpatrick thing of the mom test of, tell me the last time that you engaged with politics. We didn't understand that people just don't. They don't want to. It's too hard. Making it easier isn't going to change. So we didn't understand cutting when you're doing it. But in retrospect, after the pain fades, you learn a lot about yourself, about what you're capable of, about how resilient you are, about how you handle defeat and how you handle no's, how you handle the dwindling bank account. What kind of co-founders stick with you when the money's at negative 20,000 and which ones bail when it's starting to look grim. So you learn a lot with that.
Yeah. I feel that a lot of entrepreneurs who swing and miss in the process of taking their turn at the plate, they are completely immersed in the game. And, win, lose, or draw, what goes away is really the regret of not stepping up, right? When something calls you like, hey, let's do a platform for politics, and you move on it and you completely immerse yourself, there's never a what if left over. And I think when you wring yourself out like that, I think it's exactly what you're saying. You discover who you are and what you're capable of, and you get addicted to the edge of who you are.
Yeah, addicted is one way to put it. Another way is it's a muscle.
Yeah.
And you work out that muscle, and it's like the first time you lift weights or go skiing or something. Your muscles are sore, it hurts like hell, but hey, you look good in the mirror next time you look.
Yeah.
And let's go do it again. So is it an addiction but every time you do it, you build up this muscle of saying yes to things that sound interesting and wacky, even if they don't make any sense. Somebody says, hey, come do this with me. And you go like, I'm tired. I got a lot to do, but yeah.
Let's go for it. Let's go for it.
And that's what entrepreneurs are made of, man. So that's where I got my start.
Okay, so you guys swung for the fences, didn't play out like you thought it. Well, actually, kind of did play out like you thought it did. But you swung for the fences. You were in the game. You licked your wounds, and then what came next for you?
Man, throughout the process, I got to meet other entrepreneurs. I got to find my tribe of people that just liked this walking on glass feeling of getting a lot of no's and trying hard. And I started to identify a lot with those people. You start to get invites because it did work for a while. We got some good press. We got some users. We launched a site. We were used by like a third of the European Parliament. We had the UK government on it. We had teams in 28 countries. So then you start getting invites to these startup events where you're starting to share things with, entrepreneurs. I was like 25 or something. And I was like, yes, here's, what I've learned.
Yeah.
Now I'm 37, so I'll cringe about this when I'm 49. But, I got to share some things with other entrepreneurs, and I developed this real joy for working with people that had that mindset.
Yeah.
So I started to work with startup accelerators, startup networks, global startup networks, especially after it failed, because I could see people making the mistakes that I had made, and I could walk them through what that's going to do to them as human beings.
Yeah.
And it's not a business model thing. It's like, this is what's going to happen to you if you don't pay attention to what the customer wants.
Yeah. So what I'm hearing is you went into battle with the startup, but yet there was still like this brotherhood and sisterhood of those who are building.
Yeah.
And you immersed yourself in community. And I can't say that enough for those of you who are listening, founders in our audience. I really think if you're going to succeed, not only does it take a great understanding of your audience, but it takes a great what's the right word I'm looking for, Connor? Like it takes a heart commitment to building community. I think the best of the best look to surround themselves with not only a good team, but a good community. And it sounds like that's what you kind of immersed yourself in, and you just kept building, whether it was just the community or engaging in the right projects, but it was really surrounding yourself with amazing people.
That's it. So that brings us back to FounderX, man. Founder Institute is a global program where people can do what I did, except you don't need a roommate who had a cheeseburger with a Mexican guy. It's like you walk into Founder Institute, walk into your local chapter, and it's in 200 plus cities around the world.
Yeah.
And again, it's launched 9,000 businesses. So you walk in with the broad outlines of an idea, and you're with local experts, local mentors who get the market. They've seen the entrepreneurial journey before. They can give you advice on what those next steps are going to be like. They can help you pivot and develop that idea. They can help you work with customer validation and actually go from 0 to 1. And FounderX is about bringing all those people together, all the mentors, the people who are running the local chapters. So we have our Abuja chapter here. We have our Nepal chapter here. We have, guys from Norway. The guys from Milan are here. Plus all throughout the States are all here as well. And it's just a joy, man, because entrepreneurship has so many flavors worldwide. Bringing them together, man, it's delicious.
Yeah, I love it. So someone who's listening, they're immediately going, okay, I want to learn more. How can people, find out more about Founder?
FI.co. Yeah, just Google FI, Google Founder Institute. We've been around for like 17 years. So, just find us. And if you go to the Founder Institute website, you can check out the cities we're active in. If you're in a place where we have a chapter, you're going to get automatically redirected to it anyway. So find your local chapter, reach out. We have active chapters in absolutely every time zone in the world. So even if you don't have one in your city, it's possible you can join remotely at another city that's near you. I mean, ideally, we're moving everything back to in-person as much as we can, or at least hybrid. So yeah, reach out to your local Founder Institute chapter, join them, and build something cool.
Yeah. Can I start one here at STAK?
Oh yeah. Let's do it. You're going to have to talk to our Bay Area folks because, we have a lot of San Francisco stuff going on already, but we can start maybe a STAK,
East Bay.
FI. Yeah, for sure.
I like that. Okay. So I got to ask you this. You're now you're now the CEO of Founder. Okay. Let me back up for our audience. There's the Founder Institute, which puts on the FounderX conference. Right. And also part of the Founder Institute is the VC Lab.
It's separate. It's spun out about 5 years ago. So at Founder Institute, about 5 years ago, some of the founders, Adeo Resi, as well as Mike Supervici, they were sitting around saying like, we're building these great companies. We're presenting them to VCs, and we're seeing VCs behave pretty strange, maybe unethically, or the VCs don't know what to look for. So VCs are behaving oddly. And what I think is a really brilliant idea is we probably won't change how these VCs are going to behave. We're not going to tell them, hey, you should think about companies differently, or hey, you shouldn't exploit founders. It's actually easier to just start new VC firms with an ethical foundation because after a couple years or after a couple decades, you can move the industry. So they started VC Lab, which is a totally open, free program. We're going to walk you through how to start a VC. You must sign this Mensarius oath, which is an ethics pledge. It's the biggest ethics pledge in venture capital by now, which says we will not abuse founders. We will treat people fairly and act transparently in our dealings, right? You have to sign that to take VC Lab. But aside from that, there's no cost. Launch a VC firm because the world needs more investors believing in early stage ideas. So VC Lab spun out. And now, in 2026, it launches over half of all new VC funds on the planet every year.
Wow.
Come through VC Lab. So we're talking about an overwhelming majority of new VC firms not only come out of VC Lab, oh, that's great, but they've signed this pledge called the Mensarius Oath saying we're going to be ethical VCs. We believe that there's a new way to do things, which is, part of it is for the benefit of humanity. We're going to make sure that our investments push humanity in a good direction as opposed to continue to exploit the planet and humanity for its resources.
And then there's another component to it, the Decile group. So tell us a little bit about that piece.
Yeah, so VC Lab started as a program within Founder Institute, right? But spun out onto its own. Decile Group is a umbrella company that includes VC Lab, but it also includes Decile Partners, which is a fund admin. If you're a new VC, if you're somebody who's like an operator, an exited founder, maybe an angel investor, suddenly the world of VC is like, oh crap, I need lawyers, I need accountants, I need like a compliance person.
The back office.
Yeah. And this is why venture capital traditionally is like a super gate-kept industry, because these things are extremely expensive.
Mm.
And if you're not coming from tremendous wealth, you probably can't, like, it doesn't make any sense in 2017 to start a VC firm if you don't have like $20 million, $25 million.
Mm-hmm.
If you can create a fund admin where all of those things are fractional, right? You get a little bit of a lawyer, a little bit of an accountant, a little bit of a compliance expert, a little bit of deals advisory, right? A little bit of software, pull all of that together in a low sort of annual fee, then suddenly you can reduce the amount of money that you need to start a VC. And suddenly the gates are knocked wide open. So right now with Decile Group, you can start a VC with $150,000.
Flat or annually or what?
No, with $150,000 of assets to invest.
Okay.
So if you can get, basically imagine you can get 6 investors to write 25K checks,
Mm-hmm.
and you can have a VC fund. Like today, we'll spin one up for you in 24 hours. So now the gates are totally wide open, because even founders can get 6 25K checks.
Yeah.
So that's the beauty of VC Lab and Decile Group. And I get fired up over it.
You're lightning out.
That's where I was the last 3 years. I really believe in democratizing venture capital because of the knock-on effects that it has for those builders.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm passionate about those builders not getting screwed when whatever they've built is successful.
Right. Oh, that's so good. I love it. And so do you have to go through the VC lab to be a part of the Decile Group, or just to kind of double click on that?
Always chat with us. We have a lot of funds that are coming in now as migrations
Mm-hmm.
that have other fund admins, and they take a look at what we're doing and they go like, hey, can we just switch over to you guys?
Can we be friends?
I'm not going to name names, but there are other fund admins whose NPS is like somewhere close to the Internal Revenue Service.
Okay.
Our NPS is like 80, 90 plus.
Yeah.
So yeah, a lot of folks come to us for our software, for good fund admin, and because ethics is central to our mission. So
I love
yeah,
it. And where can people learn more about that?
That's at decilegroup.com, at govclab.com. So if you want to start a VC fund, go check out govclab.com and then decilegroup.com for the fund admin.
Man, the full stack, everything you need.
That's it. And that's the beauty of FounderX, man. We have LPs who are here. LPs are limited partners.
Right.
Those are the investors in VC firms. And then we've got the guys and girls that are running VC firms,
Mm-hmm.
right? That are here talking founders. And then we've got the local ecosystem leaders that are supporting the founders. So we've got this awesome ecosystem of different roles. We had a guy pitching. I can't remember his product, but he's a founder on stage pitching, and he goes, hi, I'm so-and-so, and actually I'm an LP in that guy's fund. Anyway, so here's what I'm building. So now we have founders that are also investors in VC funds. So you can create this ecosystem where it's way more inclusive. It's pulling in people from all different backgrounds, all different wealth levels, all different socioeconomic classes to play whatever part in it that drives their passion.
I love it. That's such good. So I got to ask this. You've lit up a few times. I actually got 2 questions for you, and I'm going to give them to you, both of them, because I'll forget. We'll get into it and I'll just forget. So my last 2 questions for you is, one, what does these companies, what does a company that has zero, right? Is that zero company? What do they do to get traction and gives you that early stage belief in them? And then, of course, I'm going to ask you the standard question of why you love doing what you're doing. So go with the first one first. Is what is it that you see in an early stage company at zero that gives you the belief that they're going to move the needle?
Yeah, it's a great question. The answer is different in absolutely every single one of our chapters around the world.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to trust. This is why local leaders are the engine of Founder Institute, because that answer is completely different in Silicon Valley than it is in Abuja or than it is in Berlin or Milan. So what do you look for when you don't have traditional traction? The answer is different everywhere. Sometimes you'll say, well, I look for exited founders.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be a little bit more Silicon Valley answer, right? Or I look for guys that are coming out of the big tech, maybe a little bit more Silicon Valley. Or I look for people with perseverance. I look for people with tangible technical skills. I look for people that have worked, who have good references.
Mm-hmm.
So for example, LATAM is a totally reference-based ecosystem. Like early stage investors might make up to 15 reference calls for a founder before they write like a pre-seed check. And when a LATAM investor says that to somebody who's based in Silicon Valley, the Silicon Valley guy's like, are you insane? Why would you make that many reference calls? And it's because that's how you establish if the founder's worth investing in. You talk to their customers, talk to who they are. And that answer is different in every ecosystem. So this is why I would say there is no one size fits all startup program. You need programs that are customized hyper locally. If you go to India, like India is more linguistically diverse than Europe
Mm-hmm.
by like a factor of 100. We were talking to my good friend Shalini today, who was saying the culture changes every 100 miles. Think
Wow.
about that. Think
Yeah.
about how you would design what does a startup program in India look like? Like it's almost dumb. It's almost like saying, here's our startup program for Eurasia.
Yeah.
It's so incredibly diverse that you need local leaders who are going to drive what that looks like locally.
You know what? I got to be honest with you. I've interviewed hundreds of investors, and I got to be honest. A good majority of them do give that standard Silicon Valley response of this is what we look for. But I've never heard it segmented into cultures and how different it is. That insight and that capacity to see what works in different cultures, not only cultures, but even industries, is tremendous insight. And it's back to what you and I were talking about walking into the studio about how powerful empathy is for those who've succeeded. Because that you were giving an example of how do you share an idea from the perspective of an elementary school student to a high school student on up to grandma, right, to the expert industry. If you can explain that, I mean, at different ages, but not only now we kind of take that and explain it also to different cultures.
Yeah.
I love that.
And by the way, we can go one step further with it and say, even within a culture, there's no right answer. Sorry, but talk to 20 investors in Silicon Valley and ask them, what do you look for in a pre-seed founder? You will probably get 14 different answers. Because even within Silicon Valley, there's different types of investors.
Yeah.
I've had investors tell me, I don't give a crap about the founders. I need to know that the tech would survive the founder getting hit by a bus. That's an investor who's here today.
Yeah,
and
I heard that.
Is he wrong? There's plenty of people screaming at their screen. Yes, he's totally wrong. The founder matters more. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah.
Let's check into his fund in 5 years and see if he's right from an economic perspective. But philosophically, he's expressing his way of seeing the world. All right, cool. I've got another founder who, a VC fund manager who invests in women's health and wealth. I'll identify her. It's Jessica Kamado with Swizzle Ventures, which is really awesome, who says, I need to know that my founder has lived experience in the problem they're trying to solve. But the first guy would be like, what a waste of time. Well, maybe not. I'm not going to name the first guy. But, Jessica's approach is to say, this is a checkbox for me. If you don't have that lived experience, then how are you possibly going to solve this problem for your customers? So, And those are two people that live in relatively nearby areas. So even within that, man, like the role that their background, each of their individual backgrounds plays, influences what they look for. So there is no right answer. Nobody holds universal truth.
I love it. Okay, the big question. Why do you love doing what you do?
Man, there's so many reasons.
Today, you're floating today because, of course, you got the effect of the conference. It's going well.
Man, I'm buzzing from Eric Ries, who's like, somebody asked him about, we were talking about Elon, and Elon sleeps on the desk, on the floor of his factories, and he works 20 hours and whatever. And Eric said, the best entrepreneurs are the ones who have a social mission at the heart of it. And that really got me thinking. I was thinking on the way over here about that. It made me think about my mom. So every year, my mom would sit on the couch at night and she would crochet lap robes, just a little blanket you could put on your lap and it would go over your knees and keep you warm. And then on Christmas Day, we'd go down to the nursing home when I was like 6, 7 years old or something. And we would ask the lady at the front desk who hasn't had any visitors. And we would go over to them and give them the lap robe. And we did that every single Christmas. And if you want to instill in a child the value of helping people, like it makes you feel good from just a selfish perspective. Like, I'm really happy seeing this person that I've given this lap robe to, and they didn't have a visitor on Christmas, and now their lap is warm and they had a visitor because it wasn't about the lap robe. So I don't know. I think ever since I was a kid, man, I derive a lot of joy from improving other people's circumstances. Even if it's like 2 seconds, it's like telling a funny joke. And somebody laughs, and I'm like, yes, it feels great to make other people happy and to help people. And so entrepreneurship is an expression of that. It's like people have a problem, and this company that I'm building is going to solve that problem. And watching them light up and go, oh man, I don't have to worry about that anymore. That's great. Or like, you just made my company money or saved my company money because of this product is so great. Like, that makes me actually emotional. It's like, if I can solve somebody's problem and make their day better with a product, that's great. And then if I can help an entrepreneur do that, then it's like I can work with 10 entrepreneurs. I can work with 1,000 entrepreneurs and exponentially increase the amount of happiness that they're delivering to their customers. So I think at the heart of everything, man, it's like I just like helping people. It's such a joy, man, is just like seeing people who need something and being able to deliver it. How awesome is that?
You got that full face smile going on as you say that. Ollie, you got anything on the top of mind?
Yeah, quick question. So you're talking about Eric Ries, and it sounds like what you guys are doing at Decile and the Founder Institute really ties into that, right? Like the ethos of not having private equity, like squeeze the living juice out of companies. I'm just curious to dive deeper into that a little bit and just hear a little bit more of your thoughts on that.
You should check out Eric's book. He just released a new book, Incorruptible. And we're sitting here in August 2026. Just in a couple of weeks from now, it'll be 15 years since Eric wrote The Lean Startup. And his new book, which is Incorruptible, is really cool. We were chatting about it in the room, so it's on the top of my mind. I'm not being paid to promote it or anything, but the idea is, Eric's taking a stand here on the fact that there is a way that you can build businesses that will not harm people, that will not create lasting damage to the planet. You can create products that will be treasured and loved by people that can't be corrupted by suddenly investors coming in. There is a blueprint to do that, and his book talks about why. And yeah, man, on a philosophical level, like he super aligns with what we're doing at Decile with the Mensarius Oath, what we're doing at Founder Institute, which is not about like just creating a ton of businesses. It's about creating solutions to humanity's problems on a small scale sometimes, on a bigger scale sometimes, but enabling entrepreneurs to like help people, man, is to solve problems and to create companies that are good for the world. So yeah, he very much aligns with us. He was a mentor with one of the FI chapters in like 2008 or 2009 or something. So he was telling stories about what Adeo was doing to the founders. He's like, did you do this assignment? No, you can get out. And he was like, yeah, I was like, wow, this Adeo guy's kind of rough, and we're like, he's softened up a bit since then, but a little bit. But yeah, he's been around the Founder Institute system for a while, and it was really great to welcome him back in. And he even talks about this sort of ethics oath and the idea of very publicly saying, here's where we stand in his book. So yeah, he's a good dude, and it was really great to hang out with him too.
Well, I'm hearing two things from you. One, you opened up the show with talk. We kind of put together this experience that you had from building the startup where you just felt completely alive by living without regrets and building, and, regardless of the outcome, you were all in. And so you kind of pulled out this experience. I'm not going to live with regrets. The other piece to kind of wrap up the show is I'm hearing is when you're all in, living without regrets is you have this natural inclination to be of service to others. And the desire to help others, to bring value to others, this constant sense of finding meaning and understanding why we do things definitely courses through your DNA, and I can feel it. Love the insight from your experience. So those of you who are listening, if you're not doing these things, if you're not getting this sense of feedback within what you're building, this sense of like, I'm living without regret. It may not be where I want it to be, but I have no regret. You're all in. You're serving others. You're being of help. You're solving problems. At the end of the day, you're going to have that sense of meaning and purpose that will enrich you more than any payday. Payday's nice. Don't get me wrong there, Connor, but that sense of being rich comes from purpose.
Yeah.
And I love how you outlined it today, and I can't thank you enough for unpacking this for us today.
My absolute pleasure.
All right. Ollie, thank you for putting this all together. Connor, congratulations on the new role. Congratulations. We'll see you all soon. Thanks for joining us today.